It's a new discovery.
New discovery. How far down? How many meters?
10 or 20 meters.
Danger?
Yes.
It's dangerous.
The first time we go, it's danger.
Could, Zav, can you hold this for me, please? Merci.
Be careful. Jeff, when we are on the cave,
Yes.
we go in this.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Be careful, it's dangerous.
Okay, thank you. I'll be careful. You find a hole in the ground, and you crawl down into that hole, and you're in a different world. Oui? Yeah, I'm okay, Francois. I'm safe. I'm just amazed at what's down here. Wow.
American photographer and explorer Jeff Gusky has entered a rare window into a war most Americans barely remember, World War I.
What's on the other side? A roll of barbed wire.
Is that a grenade?
Yes, it's a rifle grenade. It's live.
To escape the terrible carnage on the surface, men on both sides took refuge in underground shelters like this, and they left their mark.
There's a name, Louis Lefebvre. Lefevre. Another name by Louis Lefebvre under this heart. It's a pregnant woman.
Signs of humanity in a world gone mad. Jeff Gusky's mission is to document these long-forgotten havens hidden beneath the surface.
It's just mind-boggling that this place would exist under a farm field for 100 years. No one would know about it.
In 1914, Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Africa are plunged into a conflict the likes of which the world has never seen before.
World War I is the Industrial Revolution turned from the factory floor to the battlefield. It is mechanization, it is large-scale destruction, it is high technology of its day. Not just a war on the ground, but also a war in the air.
All the great powers are drawn into this killing machine. Germany and the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires battle against Britain, France, Russia, Italy, and ultimately the United States. The fighting is the most intense along the Western Front, a 400-mile corridor of trenches filled with millions of weapons and men.
We all know the phrase of going over the top and going across no man's land into the battlefield. But what most people don't realize, even people who study World War I, there were these adjacent spaces where thousands of soldiers lived for extended periods of time.
In this parallel universe below ground, many of those men left evidence of who they were, their own individual stories. In the 21st century, when few Americans are touched directly by war, our closest experience may be the emergency room.
It may be a gunshot wound, it may be an overdose, it may be a pregnancy emergency, a psychiatric emergency. We have to take care of everything. Are you allergic to any medicines?
Jeff Gusky's passion for forgotten war grew from his work as a doctor.
My job as an emergency physician is to save lives. We're on the front lines, just like in World War I, they were on the front lines. In my work as a photographer and explorer, I was fortunate to find places that had history in the raw.
His images from underground have captured a view of World War I few even knew existed, and where all sides contributed.
When you go down in these spaces and you see some of these artworks, particularly the very personal ones, you really sort of feel like the souls of these individuals are still here.
For Jeff Gusky, bringing to light these long-lost souls has become a mission, one he hopes will deliver an even greater reward. Chemin des Dames, an area of northern France. It means Road of the Ladies. Jeff Gusky hopes it will lead somewhere else. For years, he's photographed French and German carvings.
Hello. Hey. Hello, Jeff. Come on.
Now he's heard of an underground city nearby that once housed thousands of American troops. They fought here in the last year of the war in trenches now largely vanished.
Some friends of mine told me about this place, and they knew the farmer. Are you excited about this opportunity?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Jeff's friends belong to Soissonnais 1418, an association working with local landowners to preserve and protect the remains of World War I. One of them tells him about a hidden world beneath Francois Aubry's farm.
Mr. Aubry said that 40 years ago, some American soldier come back here and asked for the caves.
Wow.
And it was a man of the 26th Division.
That fought
And
here.
yes, and the father of Mr. Aubry go with them in the cave, and this soldier said, I enter in the cave the day of my 20 years.
Wow.
As many as 500 underground sites lie close to this 45-mile section of the Western Front, crossing the Chemin des Dames plateau. Both sides use them as troop quarters. In April 1917, the trenches here see some of the heaviest fighting. A massive French offensive fails to break the German lines. But for Jeff Gusky, this is more than just another underground site. He hopes American soldiers left a vivid record of their presence here.
And before me was an underground city. This place is huge. It just seems to go on and on and on. Oh my gosh, look. Here's a dog. Man's best friend.
What Jeff is entering is a centuries-old quarry, a source of limestone for building, dating back perhaps to the Middle Ages.
All these strokes were made by hand as quarrymen were taking blocks of stone out of these underground mines for castles and cathedrals. Wow, this is the eyepiece of a French gas mask just laying here. A French soldier looked through these eyepieces to protect their face from gas. I wonder if these helped to save a life.
That soldier may have been part of the second French attack in late 1917. It finally drives the Germans out of the quarry they've occupied since the early days of the war, and where they too left behind their mark.
The Germans were very organized in the way they marked different sectors, and they just left everything in place. So all around you, you see objects of daily life. You find food cans and tobacco pouches and clocks and pots and pans, and you find shells. Fortunately, this is not live.
Over several hours, Jeff Gusky finds plenty of images too, but none obviously American. Beginning to wonder if the story is false, he enters a new gallery. The walls are blank, but then...
Oh, wow. This is huge. This is amazing. Looks like it was made yesterday. It's been in darkness for almost 100 years. Mechanic A. Ardeen, Company G, 103, U.S. Infantry, South Brewer, Maine. I've never heard of that town.
Not only German, then French, but American soldiers too made this their temporary home.
E.J. Lasky, Manchester, New Hampshire. This guy is from Boston, Massachusetts, Elvin R. Nickerson. It looks like hundreds and hundreds of Americans were here, and they lived here. I keep seeing New England names. I keep seeing guys from Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont and Massachusetts.
In April 1917, the United States finally enters World War I.
Woodrow Wilson is basically campaigned as the president who kept us out of war. And then finally, in 1917, the Germans, who are really desperate to break the deadlock on the Western Front, but they can't do it with their army, return to unrestricted submarine warfare.
With their passenger and merchant ships under attack, America declares war on Germany.
Americans knew perfectly well how bad the war was, and they nevertheless, in April 1917, joined the war. And I think that the explanation really rests in a lot of ways in their sense that civilization itself was at threat.
In this vast underground city, Jeff Gusky has uncovered hundreds of images made by American soldiers in World War I. Who were they? Can he find their descendants? And what do these intriguing symbols mean? Explorer Jeff Gusky arrives in New England on the trail of the names of American soldiers he's found in an underground quarry in France.
I'm in Concord, Massachusetts, heading to the Massachusetts National Guard Archive and Armory. It's kind of eerie knowing that some of the young men whose names I photographed in France may have lived on this street, and that they were transplanted rather suddenly from this peaceful place to hell on earth.
Morning, Len Kondrachuk, welcome,
Hey,
Jeff.
General
Nice to meet
Kondrachuk,
you.
nice to meet you.
Lieutenant Jonathan Bratton.
Jeff Gusky has come to meet two experts in New England regiments from World War I.
This is really the first chance I've had to talk to anyone who knows about what these names mean. And there are guys from Maine, there are guys from Connecticut, from Massachusetts, and
Brigadier General Len Kondrachuk and Lieutenant Jonathan Bratton are historians with the Massachusetts and Maine National Guard.
What part of the front was it?
it's right in the Chemin de Dome.
It's where the Yankee division first went into the lines in February, March 1918.
Oh, wow.
So this is one with, what, about 8 names on it.
Look, the squad commanded the Corporal Blodgett from Company E, the 101st Infantry, which was from Boston. What's amazing to me is the detail on this. It looks like to me they just listed their names just a few days ago, as opposed to 100 years ago.
And they're so proud of what they do. I mean, auto rifle squad, and then they even have their sure-shot automatic rifle down here.
I was simply blown away. I was amazed, because I had no idea that anything like this existed. I knew right away that it had to be the Yankee Division.
The Yankee Division is the nickname that was given to the 26th U.S. Division, which was an amalgamation of different National Guard regiments that had existed for some of them hundreds of years.
28,000 men in all. Jeff Gusky has uncovered a record lost for 100 years. Few photos survive of the quarries, and only sketchy descriptions.